A few days before Christmas, I wait in the arrival lounge of Manchester Airport in Manchester, New Hampshire. I have watched other families and loved ones greet each other as they enter the lounge after a short flight from Boston. I am waiting for my wife, Dr. Emily Walker, to return to my home. Emily has been working in Puerto Rico for the past 6 months, and I haven't seen her in about a month since Thanksgiving. My name is John Walker, but friends and co-workers call me Johnny for obvious reasons. I'm the same age as my wife, 27, but if she's a doctor, I became an engineer and work for the city here in Manchester. I'm 6 feet tall, have dark brown hair and brown eyes. Emily and I were high school sweethearts, being each other's first love and first lovers. We went to college together, but I graduated early since Emily was still studying to be a doctor. We married shortly after graduating from college, almost 2 years ago, and have been renting a nice 3-bedroom house in North Manchester for several years now. Emily's first job after medical school was working for an NGO, non-governmental organization, called Doctors Without Borders. They give doctors 6 or 12-month contracts to work in third world or difficult economies where medical care is desperately needed. Many young doctors like Emily take this opportunity to gain experience. Plus, working in humanitarian aid always looks very good on a resume. Emily is halfway through her 12-month contract, having first traveled to Puerto Rico back last summer. It's hard to maintain a long-distance relationship. We've been so close and done everything together since we were 16. These periods between her going home are the longest I've spent without her in the last 10 years. I missed her so much. As I passed the other passengers, I saw the wavy blonde hair of an attractive woman. That was my Emily. She was 5 feet 7 inches tall, had long, wavy blonde hair and beautiful blue eyes. Her smile grew even wider when she saw me waiting for her and walked over to me, holding out her arms for another hug. "Hi, honey, it's so good to see you," Emily said as we hugged. "Hi to you too, beautiful. You look even better than you did a month ago. You've been working on your tan again, haven't you? You look amazing." I replied, "Thanks, I try to tan every day when I can. I have nothing to do but work," Emily replied as we walked to baggage claim. We spent the next hour or so finding out everything Emily had missed over the past month, although I'm not that good at gossip. She didn't say much about her job, only that it had been business as usual since she was last home. While Emily was in the kitchen calling her mom, I helped her carry her suitcase upstairs to our bedroom, unzipped, and opened it so she could start unpacking when she was ready. As I opened the lid of the suitcase, I noticed an article of clothing on one side of it. I pulled it out to examine it. It was a red see-through teddy. I had never seen her wear it before. Maybe she bought it to surprise me since it looked like new. So I put it back and closed the lid of the suitcase. After we ate dinner, I was looking forward to doing it with Emily again. It had only been a month, but even that was too long. I half expected her to come to bed in her red plush I'd seen earlier, but instead she came out of the bathroom in a long t-shirt. Maybe she was saving it for a special occasion. We spent Christmas Day at my parents' house, since Emily's parents had moved to Florida a few years ago. On the third day of Emily's visit, I still felt like something was missing. That spark that usually occurs between us. I thought back to Thanksgiving, and I have to say that the 2 nights Emily was home weren't the best either. I chalked it up to the fact that she too was tired from traveling, and she also told me that she too had worked herself to exhaustion and needed a well-deserved rest while she was here. What about now? She doesn't seem tired or worn out now, but at the same time, she doesn't have the spark and enthusiasm that she had before she left in the summer. Maybe I'm just fantasizing. Maybe I'm remembering our lovemaking as something better than it actually was. But I don't think it was. When the last day and then night came, I was still waiting for her to bring the new red plush toy I'd seen in her suitcase. If there was a night for it, it was tonight. Emily is flying out in the morning, so tonight is our last night together until she comes back for the weekend at the end of February, and then spends a week here for Easter. I was disappointed when she walked into the bedroom wearing nothing but a roomy t-shirt, one of my old ones. I was tempted to ask her about the red plush, but I didn't, focusing on giving her the good love she deserves. In the morning, after taking Emily to the airport and saying goodbye to her, I watched her plane take to the sky to take her away from me again. It's days like this that take the most energy, as the countdown to her return begins anew. But that wasn't all that was eating at me. I had never felt so disconnected from Emily as I did during those vacations. It felt like we were just doing our chores, even though I was doing everything I could to make her trip memorable. I didn't feel like Emily was trying as hard as I was, and now it's hard to shake that feeling. Is it about her work? Is it about me? Is it that as she traveled and met new people, she found that she now regretted being single? Is she tired of our marriage, or am I just seeing things that aren't there? I shook my head as I walked back to my truck. I had to get to work. On the way to work, I couldn't help but sink into my thoughts. When Emily first went to Puerto Rico last summer, she called me every day, sometimes twice. But around September, that stopped as well, and now the daily calls were only weekly. I tried calling her more often, but each time they went straight to messages, and she later told me that she doesn't turn her phone on when she's at work. But that doesn't explain why she does the same thing after work. Anyway, she'll call me when she gets back to Puerto Rico. Almost 2 months of phone calls is all I have. When I got home from work this afternoon, I realized that Emily still hadn't called me, and she was supposed to have landed in Puerto Rico some time ago. I tried to call, but it went to messages again. What the hell? She wouldn't be back to work until tomorrow. I changed my clothes and headed to the gym. We have our own workout machine in the garage to save money. Working out helps me forget about the day's stresses, as well as the anxiety I was feeling about Emily. After taking a shower, I checked my phone. There was still no call from my wife. I then started cooking dinner, finally relaxing in front of the TV to eat alone like I was used to. When I was ready for bed, I decided to call one last time, but I was redirected to her messaging service again. What are you doing, Emily? How can you forget to call your own husband when you're back in another country? The next morning, Emily finally called me at work and told me that she was busy getting ready for work yesterday, which is why she forgot to call. That didn't explain why her phone was off for most of the afternoon and evening, but I accepted it. We didn't talk long. She said she was just taking a little break and needed to get back to work. From that morning, Emily only called me once a week, always on the weekend, always on Saturday morning. When I tried to call her at other times, I'd always get a message and she'd use some random excuse, usually about being late for work. Even our calls on Saturday mornings seemed more like an assignment, like she was checking in because she had to. If I had any anxious feeling at Christmas, it has now turned into a real worry. Emily's trip home at the end of February had passed, and I was still left with the feeling that something was wrong between us, that Emily was just repeating a familiar behavior while at home. By Easter, I tried my best to put all apprehension aside as we greeted each other again at the airport. But in the 5 days that my wife was home, it only exacerbated my fears. She seemed detached again, withdrawn almost all the time. Our lovemaking was casual at best, to be honest. While we were still best friends, as we always had been, it was the romantic and physical side of our relationship that suffered the most. On the last day of her trip home, I decided to talk to her about what was on my mind. Emily, is something bothering you? We don't seem to be as close as we used to be. I can't explain it, but something's not right. No, nothing is bothering me. I haven't noticed anything between us either. I'm still very happily married to the man I love. What makes you think something is wrong? Emily asked. Because we don't socialize like we used to. You seem almost aloof when you're at home, like you'd rather be somewhere else. We rarely talk when you're back overseas. You never return my calls. Your phone is always off even when you're not working. Should I go on? John, I'm sorry, but working in Puerto Rico has been much more difficult than I could have imagined. Constant long hours, multiple shifts, and all the stress that comes with it. In my free time, I sleep or lay by the pool trying to relax as best I can. I'm sorry I don't call you all the time. It makes me feel even more alone when I talk to you. Besides, what are we supposed to talk about? You keep asking about my job, and I'm trying my best not to think about it. We don't have to talk about your work. I'd like to be able to talk to my wife for more than just 30 minutes once a week. That's all you're giving me? Again, I'm sorry. I'll call more often in the future, okay? I didn't realize you were so worried about it. I nodded at Emily. Maybe I was making too much sense of it all. Hopefully, when her contract was up in June and she came home for good, we could get back to normal. I was glad I voiced my concerns and she parted ways with me on good terms. Although she promised to call more often, we were soon back to phone calls once a week. Emily must have even set a reminder in her phone to call me at 10 a.m. on Saturdays. Now she always called at that time. June was approaching and I was glad that her contract was coming to an end, that we could live our lives again and hopefully be ourselves again. I was tired of being alone. I missed her more than I could imagine. Emily was supposed to fly home Sunday morning, but I was expecting her to call me as usual on Saturday morning. But there was still no call. By 11 a.m., I tried to call her, but I got to messages again. She can't work on a Saturday right before flying home. She even told me that her work contract officially ends yesterday. So what's going on? I tried calling her on Saturday afternoon and again in the evening, but always ended the conversation when the call went straight to messages. I was beginning to feel like the parent of a naughty child, overbearing and controlling. Today, I left the first message for her to call me. So why the hell did she turn off her phone or not even check her messages? Emily's behavior when it comes to keeping in touch with me has gotten to the point where I don't see any other reason other than she doesn't want to talk to me or is busy doing something else where she doesn't want me in her way. Maybe with someone else, that's my real fear. Early Sunday morning, I finally got a text from Emily. She apologized again for not answering me sooner and then gave me the flight time. She was flying home to Manchester at 3 in the afternoon, so I had a free morning before I needed to head to the airport to pick her up. I made sure everything was ready and then went for a run and worked out in our makeshift gym. The whole time I was running and then working out, I couldn't get Emily out of my mind. It bothered me that she was having an affair while she was in Puerto Rico. I couldn't see any other logical explanation, and as an engineer who was trained to solve problems with logical thinking, it was the only reason I could understand how Emily had been acting for the past year. It explained why she contacted me less and less often and seemed more emotionally detached when she was home. It probably also explained why her phone rang so often when she wasn't supposed to be at work. If she was with someone else, she wouldn't want me to call her. If she was having an affair, it would make sense. But what should I tell her? Ask her straight out? What am I basing this on? My gut feelings and the lack of phone calls? I've never been a petty person, nor have I liked to wallow in gossip. Instead, I've always relied on facts, figures, and reality. I just can't start accusing her of something I don't have any facts about. And besides, how will it affect our marriage if I do? She'll know that I don't trust her. And that will make it even worse if she hasn't actually slept with anyone at all. No, I'll do what I do best. Bury my feelings and emotions and just deal with what's in front of me. Emily will come home this afternoon and maybe all of this will be behind us and our lives will return to normal. Emily was greeted very warmly upon her return, and I was glad she was finally home. We quickly began to return to family life, although I still felt that we were not yet back to the relationship we had before she left for Puerto Rico a year ago. It just didn't feel the same. Emily is still a pleasure to talk to. She can be fun and genuine, warm and loving, all the things you'd like to see in a best friend, but you need more than that from a wife. You need the emotional connection that a loving couple needs, and right now we are lacking that. My wife spent the first week after her return attending several job interviews, with the job she really wanted being at Manchester's main hospital, Elliott Hospital. By the end of the week, she gave me the happy news. She had been successful in her interview. Working at a major hospital meant the possibility of career progression, and I was very happy for her. It also meant no more overseas contracts with her previous employer, which was a big reason I was happy for her. By the end of August, I was less worried about us. Emily had been in her new job for almost 3 months and seemed to be enjoying it. Although I still felt that we were no longer the same as we had been before her 12-month absence, I came to the conclusion that perhaps this is how marriages happen. Passion and lust naturally fade over time, and perhaps that's what happened to us. Though I'd say it was mostly one-sided, Emily seemed to lose some of her passion for me, not the other way around. The last few weeks have been particularly telling, as if we were just two good friends living in the same house rather than a young married couple in love, and I have no idea why. No, that's not true. I have my suspicions, and it's a Sunday morning at our house in early September. I've just made us both breakfast and coffee. I have a busy day planned. This morning I'm helping a friend with a home remodel, and this afternoon I'll be at a construction site for one of my jobs. I almost never work on weekends, but this was inevitable. Good morning, John. You've already made breakfast. What would I do without you? Emily stated, kissing my cheek as she walked into the kitchen and sat down to eat. Good morning, sweetie. I have a busy day planned. I hope you don't get bored sitting home alone all day, I replied, layering myself with the bacon I had just cooked. Oh, I'm sure I can think of something to do. Maybe even go out for a while. Are you going to walk or catch an Uber? I replied, sipping my coffee. Right now, we only had one car, my Ford truck, which I needed today, I'll think about it. What time do you think you'll be home? Emily asked. Probably around 6 o'clock tonight, maybe 7. Were you planning on making anything for dinner tonight? If not, I can always grab a snack on the way home, I asked, finishing my bacon. You better grab something in case I go out for a while. By the way, I wanted to tell you something. Emily replied. You're not pregnant, are you? I smiled back. When she said she wanted to tell me something, it was our standing joke. No, I can't believe you're still using that phrase. I wanted to tell you that there's a big healthcare conference coming up in 2 weeks at the Boston Convention Center. Doctors Without Borders has asked me to attend to speak to young doctors about the benefits of contracting their work overseas. To sell the dream, so to speak. But you don't work for them anymore. Why would they ask you? I replied, leaning back in my chair with my coffee. They always ask the doctors who worked for them in other countries. It can't hurt. I might want to contract with them again sometime in the future. Who knows? I thought you'd happily agree to work for Elliot so you wouldn't have to deal with contracts anymore, especially overseas. I replied, more than concerned that she might want to leave again. I'm happy with my job, John. Look, I'm just doing them a favor, nothing more. It's a 2-day weekend conference. The booths are open both Saturday and Sunday. I'll get there by train. They'll pay for me to stay overnight in a nice hotel with meals included, so it won't cost me anything, Emily replied. So you're inviting me along? Is that what this is all about? I'll be able to sightsee around Boston while you work the booth, I replied, finishing the last sip of my coffee. No, they only offered room and board for one, sorry. But the hotel room will fit both of us. We don't even need to tell them that. I'll pay for the food myself, I replied. Sounds good, but I don't want to mess around with reservations. The hotel will want to charge them for a dual reservation, not just one. It's only 2 days and a Saturday night, plus I'll be working most of that time. We can go to Boston together another time, okay? Emily replied. Okay, fine. At least I gave it a try. Hey, I gotta go. Peter's waiting for me there in 30 minutes. If you get out, call me and let me know where you're going, okay? I can probably pick you up later. I replied, giving her a kiss on the cheek before starting to put on my work boots. I'll be fine. Maybe I won't go anywhere at all, I don't know. Bye, sweetie, replied Emily as I walked out of the kitchen and headed towards the exit of the house. Today, I was helping Peter with the concreting as well as other chores. The other chores were done as we were still waiting for the late concrete truck to arrive. It was already 3 hours late, and the time was nearing noon. Then Peter finally got the call that the concrete guy had some serious problems with his truck and was canceling all work for the day, so that freed up most of my day. I had planned to leave for the job site at 4:30 p.m., but called the customer to see if he could get there earlier. I was relieved to find out that he would indeed be able to meet me at 1 p.m., so I said goodbye to Peter and headed to my truck to get ready to meet the customer. What I expected could have taken 2 hours, we settled in just 20 minutes. The customer knew exactly what he needed, so I didn't have to spend time explaining all the options. When we were done, I checked my phone to see if Emily had texted to say she was leaving, but there was nothing, which meant she was still at home. So I headed home to shower and spend the rest of Sunday afternoon relaxing with my gorgeous wife. As I entered the house, I called out to Emily that I was home and started to take off my work boots so as not to stain the carpet. Receiving no response, I called out to her again, walked through the living room and kitchen to the laundry room to throw clothes in the washer, and then headed to the bathroom to take a shower. I went into our bedroom, but Emily wasn't there, so I quickly looked out into the backyard. Emily still wasn't there. I got in the shower. I was a little annoyed that she didn't call and tell me where she was going like I asked her to. I swear, sometimes it feels like only one of us is married, but whatever. As I changed in the bedroom, I thought about Emily's red teddy. I still hadn't seen her wear it since I noticed it in her suitcase when she came home for Christmas. If she wasn't going to wear it, why had she bought it and brought it with her from Puerto Rico? And why would she have it in Puerto Rico anyway? Obviously, she had taken it with her when she went back there. That was another thing I couldn't explain to my wife. Her underwear drawer is right above mine in our dresser, and I opened it to see if she still had that little red stuffed animal or not. It took me a little digging, but I found it like it was hidden in the bottom and back of the drawer. When I pulled it out, something wasn't right. It looked like it had been worn and washed several times. Some of the trim around the waist was a little torn, and I also noticed that one of the buttons in the front was missing. She had obviously worn it because the last time I saw it in the suitcase, it looked brand new. But when did she worn it? She never wore it for me. And how do you wear out a stuffed toy unless you wear it while someone's entertaining you? What other conclusion am I supposed to draw from that? It explains why she hid it in a faraway drawer. Maybe it wasn't meant for me. I put the plush toy away where I found it, hiding it in the far drawer like Emily did. Where the hell is Emily? I asked her to let me know where she would go if she went somewhere else. I picked up my phone and called her, but it disconnected again. What the hell? Not this shit. There was nothing left for me to do but wait for her to come home. So I decided to marinate some steaks for us to eat tonight. After that, I headed to the gym again. I needed to get the thoughts of Emily's infidelity out of my head. At 5:30, I heard the front door close. Emily walked into the house and headed into the bathroom to take a shower without calling out to me or saying anything. She must know I'm home. My truck is parked right out front. Again, odd behavior. Unless she has something to hide. When I heard the shower turn off, I went into the bedroom to say hello to her. So why didn't you text me to tell me where you were going like I asked you to? What, are you my parents now? Sorry, I take care of my wife. Maybe I should care less, not like you, I replied. I was just out with friends, okay? I didn't think you needed to know where I was every minute. But why was your phone off? You can't use the excuse that you were working this time. It wasn't off, I must have accidentally put it on silent. What's this all about, John? I shook my head. The only thing I could say in answer to that question was that I thought she was cheating on me. But I didn't have any proof of that accusation, so I stayed silent. Did you at least bring anything home for dinner, John? No. I've got some steaks marinating right now. I'm going to barbecue them in a minute. Maybe you can help with the salad if you want. Sure, but you better clean the barbecue first. Go, Emily replied, trying to push me out of the bedroom. Okay, but I need to go to the bathroom first, I replied, heading into our bathroom. Wait, I just need to grab my dirty clothes to take to the laundry room. Emily replied quickly, pulling her clothes out of the laundry basket she had just set out. I stood there wondering why Emily was bothering. Again, what is she hiding? After going to the bathroom, I headed to the laundry room to get the portable barbecue we had stored there. I noticed the washing machine was already on. It only fit the clothes we'd both worn today and barely had enough for a load. It seemed to be trying to wash any traces that might have been left on the clothes. Or maybe I was just being paranoid and I was imagining things. Over the next 2 weeks, not much changed in our relationship. Things went on as they were, but that's all I could say about them. As much as I wanted to, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was going on, that Emily was hiding something, that her emotional attraction to me had waned since she'd left for Puerto Rico 15 months ago. I'd hoped things would go back to normal after her contract ended, but it's been almost 4 months and we still haven't gotten back to normal. Now I'm paranoid that tomorrow she's going to go to Boston alone and spend the weekend there. Could she be there with someone else? Am I being played? It's Friday night, and I decided to give her the best night possible to remind her of me while she's away for the weekend. But no such luck. She whispered, I just got my period. I swear her period had only ended 2 weeks ago, but what could I do? Saturday morning, I dropped her off at the train station and headed home. I was completely free this weekend. I had no plans. I walked into our bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed, not knowing what to do to occupy myself. Later, I would get a workout in and go for a run. But what to do for the rest of the day? I looked around and noticed that Emily hadn't closed the underwear drawer in the dresser when she packed her clothes for the night in the morning. I got up to close it, but found myself wanting to take another look at her red plush toy, as if it symbolizes the fears I have for my wife. It's something I just can't explain. I went through all of her underwear in the back and bottom drawers, but I still couldn't find it. I kept looking, where is it? I pulled the drawer all the way out and put it on the bed, going through all her clothes to make sure I hadn't missed it. No, it definitely wasn't there. Had she really taken it with her? Why had she done that? There was only one reason, but I didn't want to admit it to myself, even though I knew the answer. I put her drawer back in its place and checked the other clothes drawers and the laundry basket in the bathroom. There was nothing there. I checked the washing machine in the laundry room. Empty. I even checked the trash can to make sure she hadn't thrown it out, but also to no avail. Screw it. She must have taken it with her. All the suspicions I had until now have finally been justified, and I can no longer make excuses or deny what now seems obvious to me. My wife must be having an affair. I have no idea with whom, But it must have started with someone she worked with at Doctors Without Borders in Puerto Rico. Of course it did. My wife will be in Boston this weekend with others from that non-governmental organization. I bet the man she had an affair with will be there too. Will she wear her red teddy for him today, whoever he is? And what had happened since she'd gotten home? It didn't explain her still aloof demeanor, especially over the last month. Her head was splitting with confusion and anger. Had Emily really done this to me? To us? We had it all. We'd been high school sweethearts, dated in college, then married and lived together. Everything was just fine between us before her contract in Puerto Rico. So why would she risk ruining what we had? We have been best friends and lovers for the past 10 years, but lately it seems like we are just housemates and nothing more. I don't know the answer, I just know that the pragmatic side of me, the logical and fact-based side of me, needed proof. I needed a slap in the face of her infidelity before I would finally accept it and not confront her. I put on jeans, shoes, polo shirt, and jacket, grabbed my keys, and headed out the door. I would drive to Boston, to her convention, and figure out for myself what was going on. As I entered the large convention hall, I picked up one of the brochures that also had the location of all the vendors. I found where the Doctors Without Borders organization booth was located and headed there. I'm not stupid enough to just walk up to Emily's booth and expect to see something obscene. No, I would stay back and walk around the other booths from a distance from which I could observe her, who she was with and how they interacted. When a representative from some medical device company started telling me about their products, I saw Emily in the distance. She was sitting with another woman chatting at the back of the booth, and two guys, clearly also employees, were chatting with the audience as they walked by. After 20 minutes, I ran out of questions for the guy who was talking to me and moved to another booth from where I could continue to watch my wife. For the next 2 hours, I continued to watch her. The two guys had left much earlier, leaving Emily and her coworker behind. I didn't see anything strange. Emily would talk to people as they passed the stall. Sometimes she would give someone more time if they were genuinely interested in the NGO. I was starting to get bored of this, so I found one of the restaurants inside the building and grabbed a bite for lunch. When I went back to check on Emily, she wasn't there anymore. The two male employees had returned instead and were working in a cubicle again. I wandered around trying to find my wife, and then I remembered the food pavilion where I had just had lunch. Maybe that's where I have the best chance of finding her. Maybe she's having lunch there, just like me. At the third establishment I passed by, I noticed that she was sitting with the same employee she had been working with all morning. I quickly turned and walked away, sitting down behind a food stand some distance away, but I could still watch her from there. Sitting there, I thought about what I was doing and how shitty I felt right now. Do I really enjoy spying on my wife like this? Watching her and observing her like some amateur sleuth. I should be better than this. Emily deserves better. What the hell am I doing here? I stood up and walked away, leaving the convention center to sit at the entrance and gather my thoughts. What do I hope to find out by being here? That she's with her lover in the middle of the convention she works at? No, if she is with him, it will only be in the evening, after work. She'll go back to her hotel room where they can be alone together, hidden from prying eyes. But I don't even know what hotel she's staying at, let alone the room number. And what would I do if I did? Sit in the hotel lobby and wait for her to walk by? This whole trip seems pointless. I'll probably never find out what I think is going on with Emily. It's just ridiculous. I stood up, about to head to the garage where my car is parked, but ended up going back inside to check on Emily one last time because I couldn't let her go that easily. I found her in a booth. She was chatting with another woman again, and there were two guys there as well. I wondered if one of the guys was someone she might be having an affair with, so I watched her closely while she chatted with both of them. One of them was larger, fatter, and hardly a match for my wife. The other man was a little older, taller, thinner, and obviously balding. And again I saw nothing of interest in him from my wife. When she talked to both of them, it seemed quite normal, like the interaction of people working together. Maybe I'm just paranoid. Maybe nothing is going on and I'm just making it up. Because our life hasn't been as good as it used to be for a long time, and I want to blame it on something or someone else. It's 3 in the afternoon. The convention booths close at 5. I figured I could wait for Emily to finish work and see where she goes and who she goes with. In the meantime, I needed a beer, so I headed over to the big bar I'd seen earlier near the food court. It was already pretty crowded there, with people sitting at regular tables, so I took a bar stool at the end of the counter. There were 3 people standing next to me talking. Obviously, they were working in one of the booths today. They were very loud and it was hard for me to even enjoy my beer when they were talking. Eventually, they left and I ordered a second light beer. After all, I'm driving since I'm not going to be staying here overnight. About 20 minutes later, 2 more guys took seats at the bar next to me. That's when I realized that these were the same 2 that Emily had worked with today. My first thought was that maybe Emily was going to join them and find me sitting here. Then I decided that Emily and the other woman were probably working at the kiosk until 5 p.m., since they seemed to be alternating with the 2 guys who were now drinking beers next to me. They started talking about work and then about someone they used to work with, some guy they both knew. I distracted myself from their conversation, which had been going on for about 20 minutes now, and checked the time. It was almost 4 in the afternoon. Picking up a mouthful of beer, I wondered if I should leave after my beer. Emily seemed to be doing exactly what she said she was doing here, and I felt like an asshole for doubting her. I'd never been jealous or suspicious of Emily before she left for Puerto Rico, so why would I be now? A red plush toy came to mind. Emily always turned her phone off when she wasn't at work. Besides, our intimate life had suffered as well, but was that enough to suspect her of cheating on me? Was it? Finishing my beer, I was about to get up and leave when the guy next to me mentioned Emily in a conversation with someone else. Have you met Emily Walker before today? The pretty blonde in the booth? Have you spent any time in Puerto Rico since last Christmas? Another, slightly larger guy asked. No, I've never been to Puerto Rico. Most recently, I worked in Guatemala and before that in Honduras. I've never met her until today, but she's very attractive. Her husband is very lucky, replied the older, taller, and thinner guy. I felt a sense of satisfaction. Yes, I was very lucky. I don't know how lucky your husband is. I was with her in Puerto Rico until last Christmas. Have you worked with Ryan Knight before? He's one of the senior doctors who has been with us for a number of years. He was the team leader in Puerto Rico. He and Emily spent a lot of time together, and I mean a lot, the larger guy replied, smirking slightly. I almost turned around to ask what he meant, but remembered I didn't know these guys. What the hell, though? They're talking about my wife and this Dr. Ryan Knight. Yeah, I know him. I worked with him early last year in Honduras. He seemed like a nice guy, happily married and with kids. Was he really having an affair with Emily? Not an affair, I'd call it a torrid affair. They couldn't get enough of each other shortly after she started working for us last summer. She came to us beautiful and innocent, like a flower ready to bloom. She wanted to impress Ryan as well, and I think he couldn't resist. From the beginning, every moment they weren't working, they were having fun. In the dorm where we all lived, you could hear them doing it day and night. He even changed her roommate and moved in with her himself, which shouldn't have happened. 2 married people of different genders living together like that. He only got away with it because he was the boss. The bigger guy continued. I was stunned. All this time I had been wondering if something was going on, and now this guy just laid it all out for me. I couldn't believe it. I felt numb. Wow, okay. So Ryan is finally coming to terms with this? He's home in Chicago now with his wife and kids? Well, I talked to Emily just before that. Asked her if she was in touch with Ryan or not. I mean, it was pretty clear at the time that they were a couple, they lived together, had dinner together, were inseparable. Not that their relationship was kept secret or anything like that. But here's the interesting thing. She told me that he now works with her at Elliott Hospital in Manchester. According to her, he only started working there a month ago. I think she probably helped him get a job there too, but she'll never say anything about it. Wait, he got divorced? He left his wife and kids for Emily? An older balding guy asked. I asked her about it. Well, if he's even divorced now. She said no, he's just working with her for a while, whatever that means. I bet Ryan told his wife he's got a contract somewhere overseas while he's having fun with a young doctor in New Hampshire. He's just crazy for daring to do such a thing, lying to his wife to be with Emily. Doing that with a wife and kids at home is just tinny, the balding thin guy replied. And I agreed with his point of view. It's tinny. Emily ruined our marriage too. You say that, but you haven't seen Emily sunbathing on the beach or by the pool in Puerto Rico. If you had seen, my goodness, even you would be surprised. The fatter guy replied, No, I couldn't live with myself if I ever did that to my family. No matter how wonderful she is, it's not worth it. Besides, she's married, working now and no doubt sleeping with Ryan again. And then what? Will she go back home to her husband? The skinny older guy replied. Yeah, I know it sucks to be in his shoes. Well, don't talk about it when she gets here after 5. It's really none of our business if she wants to have fun outside of marriage. I'm sure Ryan will be here soon too. There's no way he's going to pass up the opportunity to spend the night with her, replied the bigger guy. Well, it'll be great to meet Ryan again, though I can't say I'll respect him as much now. What he's doing isn't good. I could never even think about doing shit like that to my wife and kids. The balding guy replied, Come on, even for a hottie like Emily? Man, I'd give my left nut to spend just one night with her. The bigger one replied, chuckling loudly. But you're single. You don't have a wife and kids at home to think about. There's more to life than just having fun, even if she's 10 out of 10 like Emily. The balding guy replied, Fair enough, just remember that mom is the word when Emily or Ryan gets here, okay? Sure. I was still trying to pick my jaw up off the ground. Hearing them talk about my cheating wife with her lover still made me feel like I had just been punched. Everything made sense to me now. Everything made sense. Even her recent behavior was understandable. She was having fun with this Ryan guy again. She must have spent all day with him that Saturday when she wasn't home, which was why she hadn't answered her phone and wanted to shower and wash her soiled clothes as soon as she got home. My anger reached a boiling point. I wanted to grab the fat man and ask him, what else did he know? But instead I tried to act casual, stood up, and walked out of the bar. I swear if someone had bumped into me on the way out, I probably would have punched them. I went and sat down in front of the convention center again. It was already 4:30 p.m. Did I want to wait to see her with him? To find out who this Ryan guy was? No, I don't care who he is. I'm more mad at Emily than anything else. I don't care if he's cheating on his wife. I don't care at all. All I care about is Emily cheating on me. That's all I care about. What angers me most about Emily is the lies and deceit, not just the betrayal. If she fell in love with this guy right after she arrived in Puerto Rico, why didn't she break up with me then? At least she should have had the courage to do so when she got home. Instead, she pretended we were still good, did it with me later when she clearly didn't love me anymore. Why? And now, to help this guy get a job in our hometown where everyone knows us, she continues her affair right under my nose. I can't understand this complete lack of respect for me. It's like she's infected by me. That's what I can't understand. Why is she doing this? I've given her everything I can. We've always been best friends and lovers since high school. I've never kissed another girl other than Emily, let alone something more with someone else. And now she's flaunting her infidelity like she doesn't care about me at all. How did we get to this point? The only thing left is, do I really need to see her with him with my own eyes? To clear my doubts? Maybe. I think it would be closure. That by seeing her with another man she's romantically involved with, I would realize once and for all that our marriage is truly over. I tried to pull myself together, but it was difficult. My mind was still spinning with thoughts, anger, frustration, and questions. Chief among them was the question, why? Why, Emily? Why did you decide to cheat on me? It's 5 o'clock in the evening now, so I got up and went back to the house when most people had already left. I don't want to run into her yet. I just want to see her with him, for me, for closure. I headed towards the bar, stopping and sitting down at a coffee shop nearby. From where I'm sitting, I can see the end of the bar where I was earlier. 2 guys are still there, along with Emily and another woman. Now a third man was there, a tall guy with nicely slicked back brown hair, trim and well-dressed. He was standing next to Emily and now had his arm around her waist as they stood and socialized with the others. This must be Ryan, the same guy my wife cheated on me with. Seeing my wife standing with another man as he embraces her, claiming her for himself, is very hard. Until today, I thought Emily loved me and only me. Even with all my suspicions, I hoped and prayed I was wrong. It's hard to explain this moment, to see her with him with her own eyes. She broke my heart and all my trust in people in one fell swoop. What do I do now? Do I go over there and confront her? Should I punch this guy in the face and tell my wife to back off? I want so badly to go in there and vent my anger. But no, I don't want to get an assault charge on top of the pain she's already causing me. My pragmatic side tells me not to make rash decisions while I'm emotionally upset, that I need to go home and calm down first. Now I have proof. I got what I came here for. I pulled out my phone and turned on the video, zooming in to capture them. As if on cue, Emily turned slightly toward Ryan and kissed him on the lips, just a quick kiss, but it clearly showed what he meant to her. I pressed stop and headed into the garage. It felt strange walking into our house that we'd shared together for years. While Emily had been in Puerto Rico, I had felt lonely here, but now our house seemed different. Now it only served as a reminder of what should have been but was now gone. It would be hard to sleep tonight knowing that my wife was being entertained in a hotel room by her lover in Boston, while I lay here alone. Once again, the only question I had was why? Why Emily? I decided to go back outside, go to a bar or something, get some dinner, and maybe have a couple beers with friends. I just didn't want to be alone. I didn't get home until 2 in the morning, and I had no trouble falling asleep after drinking too much the night before. The morning hangover seemed to exacerbate my bad mood about marriage. I needed to clear my head and decide what to do before Emily got home tonight. One thing I knew for sure was that our marriage wasn't going to continue as it had before, and I wasn't going to pretend I didn't know about it or that I had come to terms with it. No, it was definitely over. But what now? Pack up and move? No, screw it. She's the one cheating. Let her go and live with her boyfriend. He's probably renting an apartment somewhere in the city. He even works with her now. How do you do that? So blatantly lie to your wife about where you are? Does she even know he lives in New Hampshire and works here? At that moment, I realized what I needed to do. I opened my laptop and went to the Doctors Without Borders website to see if they had any data on him. They didn't have any, at least not publicly, so I checked popular employment sites by typing Ryan Knight, Physician Chicago into the search engine. I got a result. When I went to his profile, it listed that he had recently worked in Honduras and Puerto Rico as a team leader for Doctors Without Borders. I went to his contact information and he indicated that he lived in Chicago, provided email and cell and home phone numbers. Bingo. I made myself some coffee and sat in the backyard sipping it. Do I really want to go through this? I'm going through the destruction of my own marriage right now, and he helped it happen. But his wife and kids are innocent. Do I really want to ruin their lives too? No, but his wife deserves to know. She should know the truth. Besides, he has no right to ruin my life and walk off into the sunset with both mine and his wife. I got up, went back into the house and called the home phone number listed on the employment website. Hello, this is Melissa speaking. Melissa Knight, I answered. Yes, that's right. Hello, Melissa. This is Kevin from Doctors Without Borders. Can I speak to your husband Ryan about an opportunity we have for him? I replied. I'm sorry, but he's already working for you. He's in Costa Rica right now. That can't be right. He's not in our database. I know his last contract was in Puerto Rico earlier this year. Is that correct? I continued. Yes, that's correct. But he recently left on a new contract in Costa Rica, about a month ago. Maybe you should call there to clear things up. Or you could call my husband at his number. Although the reception there is really bad, my calls almost never get through, Melissa replied. Really? We've never had a problem with cell service in Central America. Besides, I don't think we have room in Costa Rica, and the healthcare system there is very good. Could you do me a favor? Could you check your husband's flights to Costa Rica, and if you can, let me know the flight number. We pay for all travel, so I can look it up in our database and get it sorted out quickly. I replied. Yeah, sure, just give me a minute. I'm not on my laptop right now, Ryan's wife replied. She took a minute or two to log onto her laptop and look through their emails before replying to me. That can't be right. I can't find any emails here about his flights. Give me a minute. I'll check the airline booking site we use. Melissa continued. Thanks, Melissa. That way it will be much easier for me to double-check everything in our database. I added as she typed away on her laptop. Okay, here it is. Oh, that's weird. His flight was only one way from Chicago to Boston. He usually flies through Texas to Central America with a layover in the country he's headed to. I don't see why he would fly to Boston, and there don't seem to be any other flights after that, Melissa replied. Really? We never book flights through Boston unless our contractors live in the Northeast. Give me your flight number. Maybe I can check to see what happened. I continued. Melissa read out the flight number and I pretended to dial it while she spoke. There's nothing in our database. He didn't come through us for this flight. Are you sure he's working on our contract? There are no other companies or NGOs he could be working for? I asked his wife. No, he told me the contract is with Doctors Without Borders in Costa Rica for 6 months. I'm 100% sure of that, she replies. Well, I don't know what else to tell you except that he doesn't work for us now, and that we haven't paid for his flights, lodging, and salary lately. Perhaps if you check your bank statements, you'll see details of another flight he paid for, or you can find out who paid his salary. I realize this is probably a little strange, but I don't have anything for him right now, which is why I'm calling to offer him a job. I replied. Hold on, just give me a minute. Melissa answered with a sigh. I could hear her typing. If nothing else, she would now be suspicious of her husband and want to know the truth. This can't be happening. What the hell is going on? Melissa spoke aloud, though it was clear she wasn't addressing me. He hasn't withdrawn any money from our bank account in the last month. How the hell is he even paying for anything? Melissa said out loud again. Maybe he got an advance before he left, or maybe he has another bank account. I replied, No, we only have our joint account and there are no advances in it. Why would he open another account? I can't answer that question. Have there been any recent deposits into your joint account? Surely he must be getting a paycheck if he's working somewhere, I asked. Yes, there have been 3 deposits so far, each week for the same amount. All of them are bank transfers, seemingly from another bank. The details say it's from a bank in Manchester, New Hampshire. Why would he wire money to our account from a bank in New Hampshire? It doesn't make any sense. She asked aloud again. Well, it's about an hour from Boston. I guess that explains the one-way flight to Boston. It's weird, I continued, begging her to bite me. What's weird? Melissa replied, taking my bait. We only have one other doctor in our database from Manchester, New Hampshire. I had her last contract. He was in Puerto Rico and worked for your husband for a year, up until June. What was he doing in Manchester with her? I wonder if he is working there with her again. It would make a lot of sense if you were now receiving remittances for his salary from a bank there. I replied. The hint of his wife was obvious, even if I had been acting calm. That's impossible. What would he be doing in New Hampshire with some woman who worked for him before? Why didn't he tell me about that? Why didn't he tell me about the flights and the bank accounts? Oh God, Melissa's voice broke. She had just realized the full implications of this. She had just realized that her husband was cheating on her, lying to her. Who is she? This woman who lives in Manchester? What's her name? Melissa almost demanded. I can't divulge personal information of our former employees. I'm sorry. I replied as if I meant it. But she's a doctor, right? Melissa continued. Well, I only contract with doctors, that's what I do. I answered her. Manchester can't be that big. Surely there can't be that many hospitals there. He must be working in one of them, Melissa replied. I'm sorry, Mrs. Knight, I don't understand, I added, as I continued to act out the play. Don't worry, I'll find out where he works and what he does. Maybe there's something else? I don't think my husband would want to work for you at the moment, Melissa replied. Okay, I apologize for causing confusion. I hope you get it straightened out, I replied. Oh, don't worry, I'll fix it, Melissa stated firmly before ending the conversation. It went as well as it could have, but why do I still feel like a big piece of shit for doing this? I can't enjoy ruining her life. Even if her husband and my wife are the real reason for it, I'm just helping her find the truth. With that over with, I had to decide what to do about Emily. I decided that I wasn't going to move out. Emily should do that. I went to the garage, got our 2 suitcases, took them into the bedroom and started packing her clothes. They were full before I was even done, so I took our last suitcase from the laundry room, gathered the rest of her clothes and all of her stuff from the bathroom. Finished with that, I carried all 3 suitcases to the front door, leaving them there for Emily to get home in the evening. With that task completed, I headed to the gym for a run. Now, sitting here eating my lunch, I'm trying to think through what I'm going to say to her and what she might say in response. I'm determined not to lose my temper. I don't want her to see how hurt I am right now. No, I'm going to have the courage to do what she should have done a year ago. End this once and for all. I watched sports on the TV to pass the time. It was almost 6 in the evening and Emily would soon be calling me to pick her up from the train station. That reminds me. I picked up my phone and turned it off. 2 can play at this game. At 7:30 p.m., I hear a car stop in front of the house and the door close. Then, our front door opens and closes. As Emily walks into the living room where I'm sitting, I see her stop and sigh. John, why is your phone off? You were supposed to come and pick me up and I had to drive my car home. And why are all of our suitcases standing by the front door? Emily asked, sinking down on the couch next to me. I'm so tired. It's been a very stressful and tiring weekend. I feel like I need a few days off to recover. Emily continued when I didn't say anything else. Those suitcases are for you. They're full of your clothes and things. I know exactly why you're so tired after last night. I know who you spent that night with. I know everything. I replied calmly. John, what are you talking about? You don't understand anything. Emily replied with a note of concern in her voice. You can stop lying, Emily. It's all over now. You should have had the courage to end our marriage a year ago after you started cheating on me. Things have been going your way ever since. I didn't understand why, but I do now. I kept my composure as I answered her. What are you talking about? About cheating? What are you trying to say, John? I love you, Emily replied, raising her voice. It seemed like she was beginning to realize that everything was falling apart now. Yes, that's exactly right. You haven't loved me since Dr. Ryan Knight started entertaining you every day and every night while you were in Puerto Rico. Like I said, I know all about it. Emily fell silent, her eyes began to water. Finally, she jumped up and ran off to her bedroom, closing the door behind her. It annoys me that she doesn't even have the courage to admit it now that she's been caught. Maybe she's been lying for so long that it's hard for her to admit what she's been doing. I stayed sitting on the couch watching TV, not intending to talk to her, knock on our bedroom door and ask her to come out. Screw that, she could come to me. This is all on her conscience. She has to figure it all out on her own. An hour had passed since Emily had run off to our bedroom. I decided I needed to eat and headed to the kitchen to make something. As I sit on the kitchen bench eating warmed-up noodles, I hear our bedroom door open and a red-eyed and still crying Emily comes out of there. She walks into the kitchen and sits down on a stool on the opposite side of our bench. John, we can talk. I have something to say, Emily says quietly. Sure, come on, let's hear it, I reply, finishing my noodles. First of all, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I never meant to hurt you. Not for anything in the world. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I really didn't mean to, confessed Emily sincerely. And yet, once it did, you kept doing it over and over and over and over, I replied calmly. I know I feel terrible about it. I'm sure you don't. You liked having fun with him, that's why you kept doing it. You need to stop lying to me. Be honest for once, I replied. Emily turned away from me, breaking eye contact. She then closed her eyes and sat in silence for a few seconds before she looked at me again and spoke. You're right, John. I do enjoy doing it with him. Every time I came home to you, all I could think about was being with him again. Being with him again. I hate the way I feel. I hate what I did to you, Emily admitted. Then I'll ask you again. Why didn't you break up our marriage as soon as this all started? Why did you lie to me pretending that we were happily married when all you wanted to do was have fun with some other guy? Because I didn't want our marriage to fall apart. I've loved you since we were teenagers. I couldn't imagine my life without you, and I still can't. So I kept telling myself that I could end it, that I was just going out of my mind, that I was just having fun, and that I didn't love him the way I loved you. I kept telling myself that it would be over soon and we'd be happily married again. And yet now he lives and works here and you're having fun with him again. It's hardly like you want it to end, or for you and me to be happily married. Hell, you even spent all last night with him after I asked you if you wanted me to go with you for the weekend so we could get a hotel room together. You blatantly lied to me. You planned to be with him the whole time. None of this is an accident. You've been lying and scheming for over a year now. I'm sorry, it's true. I only went to Boston so we could be together. It was hard for me to find time to be alone. Well, I'm sorry if my being around keeps you from having fun with someone else, Emily. You found time 2 weeks ago while I was away, didn't you? You finished having fun with him just before you came to my house, I added. Yes, I'm sorry, John, I really am. A little late for that, don't you think? You just got home from organizing a weekend away with another guy, and all you can say is sorry? Are you sorry you did it, or that you got caught? I know that anything I say probably won't make things better, which I did. But I love you, John, more than anything. More than anything in the world? You're kidding, right? You've been having fun with another guy for over a year now, not wanting to do it with me. And yet you sit here with an honest face and say you love me more than anything else in the world. Do you realize what utter bullshit that is? I think I do. And I know you're hurting right now and that it's all because of me. I know you don't want to believe me, but I love you, John. I really do. My actions don't show it, I know. Never mind that somewhere deep down in that twisted place you call a heart, you've convinced yourself that you still love me. Now you're just lying to yourself. There is no love between us. You made sure of that shortly after your trip to Puerto Rico. All the lies, the deceit, the betrayal, the pretense when you came home. Now I know why your phone always sent messages when you weren't working. Because you were busy having fun with it, weren't you? You didn't even care enough to call me back or want to talk to me afterward. All you needed was him. Well, now you'll have him all you want. I couldn't call you. I was overwhelmed with guilt. I just couldn't do it. I knew what I was doing was wrong, that I was hurting you, but I couldn't explain it. I couldn't stop. I didn't want to. Well, you should be happy now. You can have fun with Wizard Ryan whenever you want. You're free to do whatever you want now. I even packed for you. You see, I'm a good husband. John, that's not what I want. I want you, always have and always will. You're the only man I'll ever love, I swear to you. This time, Emily was almost pleading. Like I said, it's too late for that. If you seriously think I would want to be with you after what you've done, then you have far less respect for me than the little you've already demonstrated. You think you can just apologize and say you love me, and that will somehow make things better? What the hell, Emily? You ripped my heart out and stomped on it. And now you want to sit here and talk my ear off. Just get your bags and get out. Our marriage is over. We're separated. I hate you so much right now, I replied, finally giving in to my emotions even though I tried my hardest not to. Emily's tears flowed again and she stood up and walked towards our bedroom. I finished my noodles and opened my beer. I deserved one after all this. I went back to the living room and sat down at the table to continue watching the game on TV. I don't know what Emily is doing in the bedroom. Her stuff isn't there anymore. She's probably crying, feeling sorry for herself that the perfect world she built for herself has finally crumbled. 30 minutes later, Emily walks out of our bedroom and stops in the living room to talk to me one last time. John, I know you hate me right now, that I deserve this, and you won't believe anything I say. But I have to say it anyway. From the moment we started dating in high school, I knew you were the man of my dreams, the man I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. Everything about you was so beautiful, and I loved you more than I ever thought possible. Even in college, when everyone around me was partying and sleeping around, it never occurred to me that I wanted to be with anyone but you, and I knew you felt the same way. And when you proposed to me and we started living together, I thought my life couldn't get any better. Honestly, I was so happy. Everything I ever wanted had come true. I can't explain why I slept with Ryan for the first time when I wasn't home. I could chalk it up to loneliness, boredom with you, whatever. But I knew what I was doing, and I wanted it to happen. I knew what the consequences of that choice would be, but ever since then I've tried my hardest to bury it, to convince myself that I'd never have to face it. I know it's silly, but I was so afraid of losing you, of not having you in my life or around me. I think I've gotten too complacent about our relationship because you've always been there for me, and that's the only possible reason I let it happen. I know I ruined our marriage with this, but deep down, I always knew this is how it was going to be. If I could take it all back and never go to Puerto Rico, I would. But that's just fantasy. I'm sorry I hurt you. If you only believe one word I say, please believe it. Hurting you was the last thing I wanted to do. I hope that one day you can forgive me. I hope you can move on with your life and be happy again. Goodbye, John. With those words, Emily turned and walked out the front door, grabbing the handles of her suitcases and dragging them to the street, where I heard a car waiting for her. She didn't say where she was going, whether she was going to stay with him or not, nor did I care. I feel that her little speech is meant more for her than for me. She's trying to justify what she did, to live with herself after what she did. That she'd like to leave memories of what we were, not what we've become. And that she would want to leave me with kind words, not angry ones. But I truly believe that actions speak louder than words, and her actions have already said more than enough. To say that the next few weeks were difficult for me is a massive understatement. I even had a hard time focusing on work. It was almost impossible for me not to think about Emily and what she had done to me. After a few weeks, I finally contacted a divorce attorney and started the process. I decided it was better to get it over with than to stall. The other problem is the house we are renting, even though we lived here together for several years. It reminds me of her. Everything reminds me of her. In 2 months, the lease was expiring, and I decided to move out to start over. Moving into a new apartment, I hoped that it would be a new beginning, that I would start to move on from Emily, that I would finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. I was contacted by my attorney, The divorce papers were ready to be served, and I was asked for Emily's address, which I had no idea about. I advised him where she worked, and he would be able to find her at the hospital. Later that day, I received a call from the attorney informing me that there was a complication. It turned out that Emily no longer worked at the hospital. She was fired after Dr. Ryan Knight's wife Melissa sued her husband, seeking a divorce. The lawsuit was filed at the hospital, and Dr. Emily Walker was listed in court documents, along with her place of employment. The hospital administrator fired both Emily and Ryan. Emily for referring Ryan to them without disclosing their personal relationship, and Ryan for failing to disclose his relationship with Emily. Basically, the hospital washed its hands of her. So where is it? How do I get my lawyer to serve her with divorce papers? I gave them the address and contact info for her parents in Florida. Maybe he can get in touch with them and straighten things out. And then there's Melissa, Ryan's wife. Maybe she knows where her husband lives and if he's living with Emily now. I dialed her home phone number. I wasn't going to trick her this time. Hello, this is Melissa speaking. Hi, Melissa. You don't know me, but we've spoken before. The last time we spoke, I told you my name was Kevin from Doctors Without Borders. Yes, I remember, and thank you, I guess. Otherwise, I would never have known what was going on with my husband. You're welcome. My real name is John Walker. I was married to Dr. Emily Walker, the woman who had the affair with your husband. Yes, I know who she is. Are you still married? Well, that's why I'm calling you. I was hoping you could help me this time, I asked. I'll help if I can, Melissa replied. Emily and Ryan were fired from Elliott Hospital because you filed for divorce and listed them as your employers. They fired them for not disclosing their personal relationships. Yes, I know. I spoke to the hospital administrator, demanded that she take action or I would drag them through the mud for allowing married employees to hire their lovers with the hospital's blessing. She wanted no part of it. Melissa replied. Good for you. Melissa, I'm calling because my attorney is trying to serve Emily with our divorce papers, but I don't know where she lives or where she works after being fired. I was wondering if you know where Ryan lives. Maybe Emily is living with him. I know where Ryan is. He lives here in Chicago in an apartment near our house. He said he wanted to be close to his kids, though I'm not sure why. He spent most of their lives living and working overseas, and I don't think he'll be staying here for long. I don't know if he took Emily with him. I'm not sure. Melissa said to me, Can I get his address and phone number from you? Maybe my lawyer can contact him and find out if my ex-wife, is living with him. I replied, It's hard, isn't it? To stop thinking of her as your wife. It's the same for me. Be strong, John. We'll both get over it eventually. I'll text you his details after we talk. Thank you, Melissa. I hope you're doing well, too. I can't imagine how hard it would be if Emily and I had kids, too. It's probably not easy for them either. They're not really having it that bad. I think it's because up until now, their father has barely been in their lives. And now things aren't much different from what they're already used to. That's the only plus. Yeah. Well, I hope you're entertaining him for every penny, I added. Oh yeah, my divorce lawyer. She's an absolute bitch and I love her. She's really expensive too, so I'm lucky Ryan pays for her out of all the money he made on his contract. I get the kids, the house, the car, and 50% of his salary for at least the next 12 years until our kids turn 18. He deserves everything he's entitled to. Yes, without a doubt. Emily and I don't have anything to fight about. We've just started our journey. We don't have children or a home. Things should be pretty simple for us. Well, it's better to start over when you don't have children together yet. I don't know what to do. Who wants to be with a 30-year-old divorced mother of two? I even gave up my career to look after the kids. Soon I'll have to dust off my resume and go back to work, Melissa replied, grinning slightly at the end. I'm sure you'll be fine. Thanks again for sending his information. Hopefully I can get her to sue and get this over with. I replied, All right, goodbye, John. Take care. Melissa replied as we finished talking. Ryan's wife sent me his address and my lawyer had someone check to see if Emily lived there too. But it turned out they weren't together anymore, at least according to Ryan. He said she had a new contract with Doctors Without Borders and that my lawyer should contact them about her whereabouts. It turned out that Emily was now working on a 6-month contract in Honduras, and my attorney informed me that he had no way to provide care for her until she returned to the U.S. I wasn't happy that the case would drag on even longer, but soon, to my surprise, Emily was already working with the divorce attorney, serving me in my home. It was simple, she didn't ask for anything. 6 months passed and we were officially divorced. During that time, I have never seen or heard from Emily, nor do I intend to do so in the future. I'd like to say that my life is great right now, but I'd be lying. I have a great job, a wonderful family, and good friends. It's just hard when I feel like I've lost the other half of myself, my best friend, my only lover. I'm told it will get easier with time, that I'll find someone new to be with. But I'm not sure about that because what I had with Emily was all I wanted. I don't know if I'll ever be able to truly trust someone again after what she did to me. Sometimes there are no happy endings, just an end to what was, and then those involved try to accept it and move on. I hope everyone is right that things will get better every day, but it doesn't feel that way to me right now. I feel like I'm just dealing with it by burying the resentment as far as I can. I still don't understand why she did it, and I probably never will. The end. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for the next videos.